Hi ladies, are you ready for my first one color wonder? Today, if you remember last week, I pulled a stamp set and a color from separate containers. I did not look, and I'm going to create a card using that one color and a neutral, which will either be white or vanilla, and the stamp set. Now I pulled out the Soft Sayings card kit, and this is the card kit that's in the catalog. These are the cards you can make. This is the stamp set. This is a great kit, and for the first time ever, they have offered refills for the kit. They've never done that before. So this is a great opportunity if you need to make cards quick, you're just starting out, or you want to give it as a gift, because if they like it, they can get more refills. So with that in mind, I pulled out Soft Sky, and here's what the kit comes and looks like. Everything's packaged. It's very similar to Paper Pumpkin. There's a block for you. There's a stamp pad and the stamp set. Usually there's a belly band around it. There probably was, and I don't know where mine is. But that's the stamp set that I'm going to be using along with Soft Sky. I'm going to gather my materials and we'll get started. Okay. I'm starting with a piece of Whisper White that's 4 by 5 1/4. I'm not positive if I'm going to mount this on white. White on white right now is really hot, or if I'm going to put a layer of Soft Sky behind it for the card base. So I've got that. I also have another scrap of Whisper White. I'm going to use the small stamp, sorry for the glare, and stamp all over the back of this to create a background layer. Then I'm going to stamp this on my cardstock. Excuse me, my scrap piece of cardstock, the larger flower on there, and I'm going to use Soft Sky, but I'm also going to do, excuse me, goodness, do some blender pen coloring with it. If you have the Soft Sky marker, which I do, but I'm going to try and show you how you can do this with minimal supplies, or a watercolor pencil that would match this, you could do it with that. And you can do this with any color you want. All right, so let's get started. First thing I want to do is I want to stamp my large flower. And the reason being is, and I have another idea, I want this to dry some before I start using the blender pen on it. So I'm going to stamp that and set it aside. Now I'm going to go to my background. Let me get a piece of paper so I can take and, you know, stamp the edges also. Now I'm going to change gears a little bit. I'm looking for my Versamark. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take the leaves and I'm going to stamp them with Versamark and heat set it with clear. So I'm still using my white and Soft Sky theme. So here's my Versamark. Here's my leaf. Get a block. Oh, barely fits on there. All right, I'm going to stamp this one here. That one there. I think I'm only going to do 2. If I need a third one, I can do a third one. All right, I'm going to add my clear embossing powder to this. And I'm going to go heat set this. Okay, I heat set my leaves. Now it's time to do some coloring. And oops, to do the coloring, what I want to do is I want to push in the pad. And the reason I'm doing this and not putting re-inker in there is this gives me a lighter color. And then I'm taking a blender pen, and I'm going to scribble on here, make sure it's clear. I'm going to spread the ink around, and then I'm going to color it in. And I'm going to work around the outside edges first so that it's darker there. All right. Now what I want to do is I want the inside to be lighter. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to kind of scribble off so it comes out lighter. That gives me a lighter look, so it goes, it has a, oh, I forgot to scribble that off. That's all right. And when it gets light, I just go back in and pick up some more color. All right, now what I'm going to take and do is I'm going to use my pen and I'm going to trace around the stamped image, and I'm not stamping off on this, I'm using full strength. So it's darker, so I'm putting those outlines back in. Okay. I am picking up my ink from the area that has all the color. All right, almost done here. All right, there we go. And let me add a little color down there just because it was really light. There. All right, so there I have that. Now it's time to cut. Okay, I have my background stamped. I have my flower cut out and my leaves cut out. And as you can see, I can put this on here, but it's kind of lost. So when you don't have anything but one color, you sponge. So I'm going to take a scrap piece of paper. Let's see, is this wide enough? Yeah, that's just about as wide as I want it. And I'm going to start adding some color to this. Okay, I have my scrap paper. I've cut my piece of white 4 inches by, I made it just a little wider. I did 1.5 inches just because I think I want a little bit more. And I'm going to take and I'm going to start sponging. And when you sponge, you want to come off your paper and come in. And you're using a very light hand to get just a soft application of color. You're going to get some really defined edges, but this gives you that soft look and not the blotchiness that you get when you just kind of sponge like that. So by starting off the paper and coming in, you get to control it a little more. And this is going to be a while. So I'm not going to say anything because then I can speed it up when I post it. All right, I want to check and make sure I have enough ink on here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put that on there. Perfect. I just have a couple of spots like down here that there's no ink on the edge that I need to get. And you have a tendency when you get towards the end to press hard. Don't do that. Keep it a light touch. Okay. So there we have it. And I'm going to put that right on there, like so. I can find my glue. I'm getting to the end. Okay. There's that. Now I need my glue dots so I can add my, and those are the big ones. Grab my smaller ones. I want to put a glue dot, and somebody missed one here from my class. Okay, so I've got that there. And I'm going to get one from here. All right, now that looks much better. And it's time for some dimensionals. So the dimensionals, cutting them in half. I gotta close up my glue too so it doesn't dry out on me. One more. Escaped from me. All right. Taking my backing off. And I'm going to put this on there, like so. Now I need a sentiment. And I'm going to grab a scrap again. Let's see, what do I have? I think I'm going to do To My Dear Friend. I think that's a really nice card for that. So I've got that. Here's my ink. Again, I'm using my Soft Sky ink. All right. All right. I'm going to stamp it. Oh, good. First time. All right. Now I need to punch that out. And I am thinking the word window punch. I know this is retired. It is. But here's what I need to do. I need to cut this down to the width of this because it's longer than that. See, it's longer than this one too, but I'm going to use this to back it with the Soft Sky, with some paper that I've sponged. So let me do all that and I'll be back with the pieces to show you. Okay. When I cut this down, I cut it as close as I could get to the bottom and the top. It's good if you have your trimmer, you can use it. I use my cutter because I that's what I'm familiar with. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to round my edges. So I'm going to stick it down. You're going to take your punch and stick it down in there, or your paper, and then flip it around to the end here. And I kind of squeeze it to hold it in place. And if it's not in the center, I release it and I punch. And then I go around again, stick it down in there, and I do the same thing on this side. The key here is just getting it as close to the center as you possibly can, and then punching. And now we're going to I'm going to try this. I want the ends this way, so I'm just going to take off a very tiny bit out of this label punch. So I've got it in there, and it's fitting, and it's just in there. Now, to see that I get it correct, I'm going to go ahead and put this piece on, because then I know how much to cut off. Hope I don't have too much on there and that's going to ooze out everywhere. All right. Okay. All right. Now, I can't pick up anything. Now I can stick it back in there. Oops, I got a piece stuck in there. Got it out. Stick it back in there, and I know how far in to go to punch the other side. And I just used the same scrap that I stamped on because I knew it would work. All right. And let's see, I need my dimensionals. Almost done. All right. And I'm going to put one in the center here, only because it's kind of long. And I don't want it to mess up. I get glue on my finger. And I'm going to use a white card base. All right, and I'm going to put that right there. Sorry, my arm's in the way. I'm getting my card base. I have a bunch that I keep cut up at the front of my works area. All right, and so that this really stands out, I'm going to put dimensionals on the back. Another one. Now, you can very easily, I'm going to bling this up or take it up a notch by adding some rhinestones to the flower or some Wink of Stella. I put this up on dimensionals because then you can actually see that it's a second layer altogether. So there, I've got that. Now I need my envelope, which is here. My ink, and I'm going to take my large flower, stamp it in the middle, the large flower, stamp it in that corner. Now I'm going to take my small flower and I'm going to sprinkle that down that side. Same here. And there it is, ladies. One color, soft sky, one stamp set, soft sayings, and one fabulous card. Now it's time let me clean up, and we've got a pick for next week. Okay, and just so you know, my color and stamp set are back in there. Hopefully I won't pick the same one again, but with my luck it might happen. All right, with that in mind, let's find out what color we're going to use. And I got Berry Burst, one of our new colors. All right, let me see. Let me go way down on the bottom for a change. Here's my stamp set. Ooh, Colorful Seasons and Berry Burst. Join me next week as we make another one color wonder with Colorful Seasons and Berry Burst.